In this section of the course, we're going to talk about planning a network. So why is it important to plan a network before we design and implement it? Well, if we just think about this logically, if we purchase a bunch of equipment and we hadn't planned out ahead of time, we hadn't determined the business needs or the technical needs, and we just went ahead and designed the network on a whim and implemented it on a whim without really thinking about the business, then we have what I like to really call is an ad hoc network, because it's not a network based on a solid plan or a solid design. It's really an ad hoc network that maybe one or two people came up with and implemented. And what typically happens is we run into a lot of issues and a break-fix mentality because the network isn't going to be designed and implemented properly. It's not going to scale properly with the organization. And we're going to have all sorts of potential issues as well that arise over time. And what happens is that you have the IT operations folks, they fix these issues, they put a Band-Aid on them, something else arises, they put another Band-Aid on it, and it just compiles over time. And so some of these different issues that they run into are, well, troubleshooting issues. Because if we didn't plan and properly design, maybe we probably didn't document properly either. So it makes troubleshooting a lot harder. Because if you don't know what you have, you don't know why it's there, it's hard to troubleshoot it. Secondly, they're going to have scalability issues. So the network's not going to scale properly with the business because if we didn't properly plan it based upon the business and the business needs and scope the technical requirements based upon that, well, it's probably not going to scale up properly as well. And then, of course, if we haven't considered all that, we're probably going to run into reliability issues over time. And definitely, we're going to run into some security issues because, as a lot of you know, IT and cybersecurity is at the forefront of a lot of people's issues and thoughts right now. So we really need to make security a priority and put it into the planning and design process. And then when all this stuff occurs, we probably end up having data loss issues. And because we didn't implement this properly and we have all these issues, the more times we have to fix something, the more money it costs. And so we have costly repairs. So lots of issues. Now, where does this commonly occur? Well, it typically doesn't occur with larger organizations, but it's mainly an issue with small to medium businesses. So why is it primarily an issue with small to medium businesses? Well, if we think about a big business, if we think about a large organization, they're typically going to have procedures, they're going to have policies, they're going to have best practices, they're going to have standards, they're going to have personnel on hand that are experts in project management and designing and planning and implementing networks or any sort of an IT project. So it's really not going to be an issue for them because they know that they need to follow standard operating procedures and policies and best practices and so forth when they're doing something like this. However, with a small to medium business, they're going to have monetary constraints, which lead to personnel resource constraints. They're not going to have the expertise. And with these resource constraints, it's going to lead them down the path to potentially consider an ad hoc design because they simply can't afford a properly planned and designed network project. So that's why we commonly see this with small and medium businesses. Now, let's talk a bit more why this is important. So if we think about a business, if we have a lot of downtime, if we have a lot of network issues because of an ad hoc design, and we have scalability issues, we have reliability issues, and so forth, we have data loss, well, that's going to lead to business downtime. And for a lot of businesses, there is a maximum tolerable downtime. That's the maximum amount of time that a business can stay in business without having sort of a financial disaster, financial impact. But any sort of a downtime is going to affect a business. So if we think about it, we have business downtime, that's going to lead us to decreased revenues. Decreased revenues mean profitability is going to go down. And then of course, there's the issue of a tarnished reputation. So if we think about some of these online hacks, we think about even, for example, PlayStation several years ago, they were hacked and people were wondering about their accounts, or even Equifax being hacked and people wondering about their accounts on there as well. So these companies are also going to have a tarnished reputation. And in many cases, they're going to have loss of customers. So customers are going to take their business elsewhere. So it's a snowball effect here. We have business downtime and it leads to all these different things. So that's one of the reasons, one of the very primary reasons why it's important to properly plan and design a network. Now, in addition to that, we plan, so for those of you that are coming from a project management background or you have experience in it, we also plan to keep the process focused and organized. So for those of you that work in project management, you're probably familiar with scope creep. So if we're not properly planning something, what typically happens is we kind of fall out our predefined scope of a project and more things come in and the project gets bigger and bigger and we have scope creep, and that leads us to be behind schedule, and it also throws us off of our cost budget estimates as well. So when we properly plan something, we keep the process focused and organized and we don't have those issues. At least we hope we minimize those issues. And then of course, it's also going to produce us the best results. So if we compare an ad hoc design, something that's poorly planned and designed, to something that is properly planned and designed, we're going to have much better results. And then lastly, if you work for a company where you are providing some sort of a service, some sort of a network design and planning and implementation service, what your clients are going to expect it. And if you work for an organization, well, of course, your employers are going to expect it. So anyways, that sums up why we plan a network. We plan first and then we design. So we're going to talk about designing later on near the end of the course, but I want to talk about planning now earlier on in the course. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care. Well, I hope that you enjoyed today's video and you learned a lot from it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Now, if you're interested in taking this full course or just learning more about it, check out the video description down below because I've included a link where you can learn more about the course and enroll into it if you'd like. So again, thanks for watching my video. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the next video. Take care.